Hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to our second episode of Anékdota. Thanks for joining in again. Hello Ángeles, how you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for being here today with us. Thank you, Aida. I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited for this second episode.
This is going to be an interesting subtopic. And we were like wondering which approach to take because it's a very in-depth and it's a vast topic. So we're just going to take a few bullet points just for the sake of the just for the sake of the episode. So today's topic, do you want to share what today's topic is?
It's about magic,
Ooh.
magic real.
Okay.
I'm excited for this because it is a topic that it is quite challenging to talk about um, because
Yes.
there's a lot of mystery around magic, I feel. What do you think?
First of all, I love the topic, and I do agree with you that it is kind of tough to address because of all not just the mystery behind magic, but all the beliefs that
Mhm.
are attached to the word magic itself. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word magic?
Someone reading my future or something like that.
See, the first thing that comes to mind is just, the hat, someone pulling out the rabbit, from the hat. And it's like, oh, okay, magician magic, that, or some like card trick, or, like the magic wand. And, you know, but what is magic? Is magic real? What do you guys think?
I think magic is real. I think magic is magical, as it says.
Okay.
But definitely, I do think it's real. What do you think?
I think it's real, definitely. But not the type of magic the illusionist or, the magician from like the fair is showing us, but like true ancestral magic and the magic of the little things that we experience on our everyday life. That is magic, like magical moments. There's a lot of magic in our surroundings that can truly be missed if we're not aware that
Exactly.
it's there.
I was just sharing with you Aida, earlier a magical moment that I had with my daughter this last week. You know, how I was feeling really overwhelmed and um, I was feeling all of this anxiety and I was just not okay. And then the moment that I put away my phone and I turn around and talk to her and just kind of let myself loose with her and just spend that time, that quality time with her, that was a magical moment. That actually reminded me what is magic, you know, and how in that moment everything went away. Like all of the anxiety that I was feeling and all of this um, stress and overwhelmed, it all disappeared in just in spending that magical moment with her. And it was just a simple conversation. And I feel
Hmm.
like sometimes we're not aware of those little magical moments that we have throughout the day.
But see, the cool thing is that so you were living that magical moment, but then when you talk about it, you're reliving the moment,
Right.
right? So that's another magical moment when you realize that it was magical.
Yes, and I think throughout our entire day, we're constantly um, having like mini doses of magical moments, and we aren't aware of those, right? Um, so I definitely think when you start realizing those when you start becoming aware, I should say, of those little magical moments, is that you're like, oh, so there is magic in life. There is magic in that everyday, right?
Hmm.
Which it's pretty interesting because we don't always, or we're not taught to think about it that way, right?
Mm.
As you said, magic has been a whole concept that it's completely different. Uh,
Distorted, I would say that
right.
it has been distorted, to what it really
Yes,
is, or it
exactly.
has been throughout our history. right?
Exactly. Right. And I wonder sometimes why or what happened that it got distorted as of what we know of what society makes us think of magic nowadays.
Wow. Okay, that's going way, 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 way back and way, way, way too deep. Okay, so if we go back to like what magic was to our ancestors, per se, the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Incas, all the ancestral cultures that relied on magic on our day, during like on their day to day, on their daily activities. Magic to figure out what or who the next ruler would be, or what the new name would be for a city, or how they would create, period. Not any just anything specific, but just creation on its own. Like how were the pyramids built, behind which beliefs, what magical spells, and spells now like, but like actually saying the word, speaking the word. That's something that we're mentioning in our past episode. So that's one kind of magic. And then like if we continue down in history up until this day, like where did it get lost
Mm-hmm.
and why? Was it too powerful and some people didn't want that knowledge? Because I think that's what magic is. It's knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That it was too powerful for just any mortal to have. Maybe people in power weren't too happy with that, because if we go back to like the Egyptians per se, the power relied on the priests. No,
Yeah, they were
is it
called priests.
were they called priests? I forgot if they were called priests. So they were the ones that that could actually create magic. So
Right.
it was just for a very few. So at some point, or at which point in history did that get like out there, and then it started being controlled?
I think when all of these governments came into place, because know, if we were aware of the magic that we can create through the power of our word, going back to our first episode, that is something very powerful. There is magic within ourselves. We can create magic um, with how we speak, how we think, and how we feel. And magic just automatically manifests in our life. Yeah, and it's interesting because sometimes, even though we're not aware, has it ever happened to you that you're just thinking about something and then you see a number 8888, for example, and you're just like, oh, interesting. And then you keep thinking throughout your day about something else, and like the same thought, but just kind of going back and forth in your mind about it. And then again, you see 888. And that's a magical moment. That's the universe talking to you, trying to tell you something
Trying
about
to tell.
that same thought that you're having throughout your
Mhm.
day. Like, what is this trying to tell me, right? Like, every time, for example, in my case, like every time I'm so worried about a certain situation, and then I see the number 444, and it's just like, oh, it's a reminder that my angels are right there taking care of me, right? Like, don't
Okay.
worry, we have this under control. So that's a magical moment. And we have all these magical moments throughout our entire day that we're honestly not always aware of it. Or we're such in a hurry every day that sometimes the universe is talking to you in magical ways and you're just unaware of it. Like, completely unaware of it. Like the day that I sent you the picture of the two birds, those huge
Oh
birds
yeah.
on my balcony, that I
Mhm.
was like, what is this? And it was the universe trying to tell me, something new was coming, because something was coming to an end and something new was coming. I was just kind of like, wow, what an interesting way to tell me.
Exactly. And it's you just mentioned two important things. One, awareness. How aware are we of our surroundings, of the things that are, just presenting themselves? Those signs, that's one. And two, interpretation. You didn't say the word, but that's the way you interpret it. Like, with the numbers, like, okay, my angels are telling me this, or, the birds are telling me this. So that's two things that are crucial, I think,
Yes.
in our everyday lives in order for us to admire the magical moments,
Right.
and actually make something with it.
And as I mentioned earlier, I think it is not convenient, or as you mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, it is not convenient for government societies to know, to let us know that there is magic within us, that there is magic all around us, right? They have teach us to concentrate so much on all of the bad things, all of the bad things that are happening, and even in little commercials. For example, the other day I was listening to Spotify, and I realized that there's certain commercials that come in to kind of even unconsciously push us to those little edges, of life, to like um where it just sends you a message for you to kind of take it in unconsciously,
Oh, yeah.
and just have that experience. For example, it was talking about if you ever experience a car accident, and it was and like even like it's attracting that if you're not
Your
aware
un-
of it.
your unconscious takes it in.
Right. So there is the power of the word. There is the power that resides within all of us, that magic that resides within all of us, that is like, of me being aware of what I'm listening, what I'm taking in, what I'm allowing into my psyche to go in, and be aware. Oh, and be like that filter, like, oh, I want this, I don't want this. Like, this is something I want in my life, and this is what I don't want. And it's so important to learn how to be that filter for yourself, to understand how magic plays out. Like, once you start being that filter, then you're going to see how magic unfolds, right? Right in your face, because you're just like, okay, like, I'm actually telling the universe to get me more magic into my life, right? Because I'm not allowing all of this negativity around me to come into my
All the noise, and you're only letting what truly resonates with you
right.
instead, or I'm only letting what resonates with me in, rather than the other stuff. Yep. Yep, I think you're right. And going back to that history timeline, I think religion started, like, you know making their moves and only concentrating all the power or mediators between us, like mortals, and the universe, God, or that supreme power, and religion being like right in between to mediate between us and the superpowers.
Mhm.
And I think that's where magic got lost. And then it had a revival where they started bringing, like, magicians, people that actually went back to that ancestral those ancestral teachings, and were like, okay, there's something here, and started digging and talking more about it. And then it's like, okay, these guys are like, they know too much, but it's making a comeback. It's already
It's happening now. We're
it's
bringing it back. No, it is interesting how we have changed perspectives throughout the years, with magic. or decades. Um, so it's important to understand. I honestly do think that it's important for me to understand what magic is and how I have this magic um, in my
Within.
everyday, within and in my everyday life. Yes, um, because we do live in a magical world. We do live in a magical galaxy, and we do see it every day. We're just not aware. Our attention is not in those magical moments.
Mhm.
That's where I tell myself every day, okay, bring your attention to this magical moment that you're living. Like I said, like I shared earlier, with my daughter's conversation, it's like I became aware of it after. I was like, wow, this conversation with my daughter was so magical that it took away my stress, my anxiety, my um, everything that I was feeling at that moment prior to the conversation. It just disappeared, right? And it's so important for me to become aware of those magical moments. Even right now, before we started this podcast, I came in and you were like, what's wrong? What happened? And we started having a conversation, and we are now recording this, and I feel great because of that magical moment that you gave me.
No.
So thank you for doing this. And we can find this in so many other ways, throughout the numbers, throughout nature, through a conversation with a great friend like you, um,
No.
with our family members. There is people, there is situations, there is places that do brings us magic in our everyday life, and it's understanding which are those people, who are those uh, people who makes us feel like magic, where those places are at.
And I think you bring up an interesting point. You might not be aware of it, but but I think you just did, because it's the magic of being throughout our day. And it's not just seeking for that magic, it's just magic happens. And we just
Mhm.
have to be aware
Right.
to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great point, because sometimes I think, or I've found myself waiting to be at a certain point in my life to appreciate everything. And it's like, no, what about the process? The process has magic in itself
The
too.
magic of chaos. Right. Yeah.
Right? And it's like, if I appreciate every single moment, then it makes the whole process, the whole completed piece of art worth a lot more than
Right.
just the piece itself, just the finished piece by itself. It's because of all those little moments, those magical moments that made it whole.
Right. Right. It's important to find the magic within the chaos too, as you just mentioned, because we often forget, and that's because that's how they have teach us, right? To like, okay, if there's chaos, you can't also find peace, or you can't also find happiness, or you can't also find good in the chaos. Where there is, for example, for me, it was like I found um these teachings through on the middle of the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like magical, right? Like, oh my gosh, someone who thinks like me, let me get into this group. Um, but we're so accustomed to just concentrate on the bad things that are going on that we forget to also kind of shift our energy and say, okay, let me see what's good in this situation as well. Like I'm actually learning something in this situation, even though it's not the way that I wish I could be learning this lesson, but
It's
I'm
not exactly what I would have what
yes,
I
but
would
I'm
have
also
liked, but
learning. Right, right, right.
mhm.
For example, a breakout, like it happened to me. It's like, oh my gosh, like my whole life is just kind of crumbling in my hands. And it's like, I'm going through a breakout, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and what's going on? But it's like, and that, what's the magic of that situation? That I'm learning to love myself, that I'm learning to put limits, that I'm learning this, how Angeles deserves to be loved, right? And it's
It's a
like,
beautiful way you just, yeah, beautiful way to put it, for sure.
yeah, and it's magical because now I'm like, oh wow, now I know the kind of love I deserve. What are my limits? What I'm gonna put up and what I'm not, right? And even though maybe I didn't want to learn it this way, but it happened, and it is magical the way I'm starting to realize and become aware of who am I? What are my limits? How do I want to be loved? Right? And those are the things that,
That's all the magic that whole chaos brought within.
right, yes.
That perhaps just being like, oh, sometimes I feel like we get so caught up in our chaos that it's hard to see the good, that
Mm-hmm.
it's like right there, but we're so focused on the chaos, on the bad, quote unquote, that we can't appreciate, we can't see the full picture. And sometimes that is that full picture that's showing us all the good stuff that is coming along with
Exactly.
that chaos, or that it's resulting from that chaos too.
Right. All of that magic that resides within, and that we just need to kind of undo all of this dust on it.
And yeah, untangle the whole thread to make something cool with it,
Yeah, yeah.
to make the magic shine even more.
Right, yes. So I definitely think there's magic in every situation, even if if we're in the middle of the chaos, even on our everyday life, even though if we think, oh, every day is the same thing, what magic am I gonna get out of this? Like, just look around you, just take a moment to breathe, to just feel it. Because even though you might not understand why it's happening, it could be that this situation in this moment is gonna bring a magical outcome, you know?
It's showing me something that I'm not seeing. That's the way I look at it. It's like, okay, why am I not seeing? What am I missing here?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What
Yes.
am I not appreciating? And
Right.
I think I shared this like on the intro episode, that to me, magic is also like in the little things, just waking up every day. That's a magical moment, because I could have just, sleep through my alarm, and to me, that's a huge act of magic.
Right.
Waking up, but my alarm on time, and it's like, ooh, magic. And waking up, being able to speak, being able to think, to walk, that's magic.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I've also learned to appreciate that, and to be grateful
Mm-hmm. Right.
for all those little magical moments that sometimes that I used to take for granted. Even someone shared with us a video about someone that was, I think, blindfolded for like 4 days or something like that, and then all of a sudden, like, they got the blindfold taken off, and then he could see again, and he started crying, like. And then it made me think, like, okay, well, I took for granted my sight,
Right.
my eyesight,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and that's magic. It's such a magical
Function that are
function. Exactly,
that are
exactly, that our body
being
creates, like, oh my
found.
gosh, yeah, for me to have these two eyes and to actually see and appreciate things, and then what I see makes me, generates emotions, feelings, um something, something moves
Mm-hmm,
inside of me.
mm-hmm.
That's also magic.
Or when you hear a beautiful song or melody of a piano or something like that, for me that's very magical. Like,
Even the birds,
right.
I mean, just walking and hearing like the squirrels just walk around. I mean, I have a bunch of squirrels here, and I just, see them just like
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's also a magical moment. It's like, what if I couldn't hear it,
Yeah. 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 Or if you couldn't see them,
or if I couldn't see
or if
them?
you couldn't smell roses, and there's so many things in our everyday life that are magical, but we have been taught to forget about this and to just concentrate on the negative or
Or on
taking it
the
for
go, go,
granted.
go, 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 go,
Yeah.
go, 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 and just like, okay, do this, do that, blah, 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 generate, generate, consume. You
Right.
know,
Yes. And I think it's also about the society. Um, because to be honest, I do see this more of a go, go, go kind of thing here in America. But when I go back to Mexico, people are magical. They're taking their time, they're enjoying life. They laugh about everything. They make a joke about everything. So it also has to do a lot with the place that you're in, right? But it has to
cultural.
do a lot with us. Do I want to live under the society norms, or am I gonna make my own norms and I'm gonna go ahead and live with the magic, right? Um, because I have seen this with Europeans. For example, I work with a lot of Europeans here in the US, and they can care less about the system. They're just like, no, if we need 2 hours of lunch, we're going to get 2 hours of lunch. If we need to extend this conversation, we're going to extend it for 2 hours. And that is magical, right? When you can just be, wherein you can just allow yourself to be in the present moment and
The
enjoy.
magic of being,
Right, right. Yes.
just being. So if I go on with my own magic, just focusing on my own magic, it doesn't matter if I live in the most chaotic place in the world because the magic is within,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I mean, what I do, if I see someone happy, it's like, okay, why is that person happy?
Right.
Right? What is it that makes that person happy? And then I start looking at myself and say, okay, well, I have two arms. I mean, I have this. I mean, I can see, I can hear, I can feel. I mean, I can be happy too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I can be happy too. And even within the, like, at work, I mean, there's all this rush and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I'm keeping my peace. Yes, I'm rushing, I'm doing but I'm living in my own magic,
Mm-hmm.
living my own magic,
Yes.
regardless of where I go. And that's something that I've actually trained myself to do because it's so easy to get caught up, like, um, to get caught up in the game, the rat race, the rat race. And I think we were talking about, I don't know, a few weeks ago about island time. How people from Hawaii, I mean, they have no sense of like urgency. They're just like, life is good, chilling. And I'm like, okay, I admire that. It can get on my nerves, or it could get on my nerves. When I was like, go, 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 deadlines, this, that. But now I see it differently. It's like, yeah, what's the point of being, just rushing all the time and deadlines, this, that. When it's just like, there's nothing
Because
wrong.
let me tell you something. If the universe thinks it's not the right time, it's not the right time, no matter what you do. So that's something to keep in mind too. It's like, take your time, just enjoy the process. If there's a timeline, and if it gets done on that timeline, perfect. Um, it is important, right, to go along with all of these things, because they form part of the society that we're in. But it's also understandable and to make it more humanized, like, hey, like, relax. It's because I feel like now are more like, I want things now, right? Like, I want you to respond to an emails now turn into like text messages. That is just kind of like,
Yep, or Slack. It's like,
Right.
oh my gosh, they went like, boom, boom, boom. It's like, dude, no, instant message. It's like,
No,
great.
yes, yes. And it's important. And that's the one thing that I do admire about Europeans, about Mexicans, is like, relax. It's gonna get done. But it's gonna get done whenever it's the right time and circumstances, right? And I think for so long, here in the US, it has worked, but now I think people are becoming more aware of it, and I see it in my everyday work that I
Me
do. You
too.
know, like
Yep.
where people are starting to realize, like, I don't want to live in this.
Rat race.
You're right, right, yes, in this rat race exactly anymore. Like, I want to actually enjoy the moment, enjoy life. Yes, work is important, but also my well being is
But
important,
it's not everything.
right? It's not everything. And I see more and more every day how people are wanting to discover that magic that is within them, right? And how they want to
Me too.
explore more and they want to connect more with that inner magic and just be who they are without restrictions, without any rush, going on around them. It's just like, let me breathe. And that, I think that's something beautiful that we're coming into terms as a society.
As a society, exactly.
Yes, I think it's very interesting because um, I heard this video earlier from Guillermo del Toro that he was like, I don't know what's shifting in the world, but something is shifting. And I thought it was a very interesting way of putting it out there. He was like, I don't know what's coming into an end, but something is coming to an end, and it's pretty
And it's
interesting.
looking pretty good. I mean, a great example because some may see it as, oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many changes. Things are changing. Regimes are falling and this and that. And others could see it like, yeah, there's something. I mean, there's changes are coming. Changes are coming and they're taking place, and this is getting interesting. So we have two options. We can see it from like the change or like yay change.
Yes, yes. We can either get all anxious about it or all excited about it. That's how I see it. Like, either you're excited about the change or you're just in chaos yourself and can't see the good thing about
And
it.
I think that's where magic magic within us comes in super handy. Because yeah, it's like, okay, well, regardless of what is going on outside, regardless of all the changes or all the chaos that might look to some, I know I'm going to be okay.
Right. I think we're experiencing a new era within and out as well. And to
Mm.
me, that's a very interesting thing. Like, you know how a lot of people were like, that Mayas predicted the end of the world, blah blah blah, in 2012, and it's like we're seeing nowadays that it wasn't the end of the world; it was the end of an era. And right now we are on that middle between the end of an old era and the beginning of a new
A
era.
very new one.
And that middle, on that middle of the chaos that these two different things are bringing, um, it's important to recognize that magic that is within and center ourselves and say, okay, like, I'm transitioning into something new, but I know I can find the magic in this chaos too.
And how do you recognize that magic? Like within and the external magic that you're talking about.
Within is my sense of awareness
Okay.
of myself. Like, I'm now that magic is like, it's those magical moments where I become aware of things, when I become more conscious about it, and I'm like, oh, like, now I see how the old Angelus will react and how the new Angelus is
All
reacting.
aligned, all sand, and
So within is definitely those moments of acceptance, of being centered and saying, okay, I know this is part of the process and I welcome it and I accept it, and I'm not going to let it drain me. I'm just going to let myself be on
Mhm.
this moment. So within it, I think it's a lot of that, of just allowing myself to feel and be and just stay, you know, centered, basically.
Okay.
And without is on the everyday life, like the singing of the birds, the fact that I'm up one more day up in this world, um, that we live in paradise. I don't know why people think, oh, when I die, I'm gonna go to paradise. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're gonna live in paradise already.
So
Just
what
look
have you
all
been living?
around you.
Mhm.
Um, so externally is definitely all of that, plus all of these little magical moments that the universe sends me throughout the day, like conversations with my kids, conversations with another, with you, or even magical numbers appearing, angel numbers appearing in my every, like I see angel numbers all the time everywhere, and like different kind of
Science.
animals and stuff, so signs everywhere, exactly. um that reminds me, hey, you're living in magic. So don't forget about it. Stay centered. Stay here. So definitely is that. How about for you?
For me, well, well, like I shared, I mean, just like same thing, just waking up, enjoying conversations, things like that. My own magic, knowing that I can create my reality, and I think we've talked about that. Um, I think that brings me a lot of peace,
Mm-hmm.
peace itself, being in peace with myself, magical to me. I mean, that's like the most magical feeling I think I've experienced lately. And external, I would say enjoying people just having fun, having a conversation without actually looking at their phones. That to me is magical. Like, okay, there is others that that are appreciating their own magic.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is magical too. The magic of hugging my nieces and nephews, having my mom here with me, enjoying a meal. Um, there's a bunch of like, there's magic outside, regardless of, what people say, oh, the news, this and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but, if I focus on that, then you know what? Everything goes down the drain. I'm going to focus on the magic that surrounds me and the magic that I create and my own magic, like the magic within, to make it a paradise. Otherwise, then it's not going to be fun at all. So I choose to
Right.
live to live
And that's the
magic.
reason why we have the right, to choose what we want to concentrate, where we want to put our attention. Um, that is the reason why we have that choice to what I'm going to create. Am I going to create or concentrate in the magic or in the chaos? And if I'm concentrating on the chaos, I would just ask myself, okay, what is the magic within the chaos? um,
I've already tried that and I didn't like it. So you know what I mean? I've lived for so long in that with that mentality that it didn't work.
right, but there's still people out there who still live within that chaos, or
Oh
that
yeah.
looking at life as a whole bunch of chaos. So for those people who are constantly concentrating only on the bad or only on all of this chaos, ask yourselves, what is the magic within this chaos? Like, what am I learning from it? What am I not seeing? Um, because becoming aware of what's the magic within that chaos is gonna allow you to see the magic. It's gonna expand, right, into other things that now you're gonna be like, okay, now I see where's the magic.
So basically we're inviting you to switch gears and yeah, and start seeing with different eyes, with a different set of eyes.
Yes.
and start focusing on the good rather than the bad, quote unquote, both, to start unveiling the real magic that surrounds you, me, and everyone, and that it also resides within us.
Right. Yes. And there's always going to be good and bad, light and dark, right? And things like that because it we live in a world where duality is it is. It's part of us,
Can't
right?
have one without the other, basically.
Right,
But
right.
it's our choice to
But it
focus
is
on
our
one than
choice
another.
where we put our attention. So it's important to remind ourselves that at least I do it for myself every time I'm like, in this chaos, like right now, I feel at chaos, but I decide to where am I going to put my attention? Am I going to concentrate on the chaos that is going on, or am I going to concentrate on the magic that resides within the chaos? And for me, it's like, okay, I'm learning something new every day.
Every day,
Something
exactly.
about myself, yes, or something about someone else, and or certain situations that bring me a lot of knowledge that I didn't have before. So yeah,
You're a different Angeles now than you were,
oh
I
yes,
don't know, 2 hours ago or an hour ago, because we're constantly changing
yes,
and hopefully evolving, some of us, you know, but that is also magic,
right,
and if we take a moment to actually realize that and appreciate it, then we'll see even more magic
yes. I think
unfold
it's
right
magic.
before our eyes.
Right, I think it's magical how we can be someone else 2 days ago, but now we're someone completely different, right? Like our perspectives can change so drastically. That is so amazing to
That's
me. That's
beautiful,
so
I think.
magical.
Okay, so now, what kind of magic are you sharing with others? For example, I mean, your kids,
Wow, that's a great question.
without telling them like flat out, okay, so this is magic, sit down,
Mhm.
I'm going to talk to you about magic. What are you showing your kids with your actions, with your words, with the way you behave, with the way you think? What are they seeing? How are they perceiving that magic from you?
I think it's on the little things. Like I always tell them, I don't know, like if we go out on a walk and we see beautiful flowers, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the little flower. And I like to say, and they always make fun of me, but because I'm always like, thank you, universe. Thank you for this beautiful flower. Thank you for whatever it is that we're walking around and we're seeing. So little things like that, showing them to be grateful for allowing us to have a home, you know, for allowing us to live in a beautiful neighborhood where we can go out for walks and get inspired by the flowers that we see all around us. Um, or I don't know, maybe when we go to the store and we see someone outside, like a homeless or something like that, and I buy food, and then I'm like, okay, go take it to this person after we do our grocery shopping. So those kind of things I do try to implement, like very like for them to go kind
Very
of like
subtle.
unaware,
Hmm.
yeah, like kind of unaware of what's happening, but they are always aware. Kids are very smart.
Oh yeah. They
They're
know.
always aware, but or even when we're on our way to school, especially when it's raining, and that we see people who are out on the rain waiting for the bus. I always tell them, oh, I'm so grateful that we have a car that can
Or
take us to places, and we are able to just step outside our house into the car and go to school without having to go out on the rain and things like that. So just kind of bring them to the present moment and be grateful for all of the things that we have, and be compassionate with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they make like a joke about it, I always ask them, how would you feel if someone was to say something to you
Like
like
that to you or someone you loved. Mm-hmm.
right? Or even in social media, like what are we seeing, right? Because just think about who's on behind that screen. You never know. Someone could be on a horrible depression and thinking about suicide. And it's so important that we understand these things, like have a filter. Know that you just because you're behind a screen doesn't give you the authority to just go out there and type whatever you feel like it. Like, be aware of what you're doing, how you're acting, how you're speaking to others.
Be considerate. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Be empathetic, and be aware not just of your feelings but everyone else's feelings. So little things like that, I like to remind them. And not, I don't go over it every single day because they're teenagers. They're just
Yeah, they're below mama
don't
and her
get it.
things. Yeah.
But as we were mentioning earlier before our podcast, like I always try to find these little moments where I can be like, oh my gosh, like this is the moment where I can bring something in, to
It gives
show them.
Nick something. Hmm.
Yes.
It's funny. You reminded me of my grandma. My grandma was super magical. I mean, I loved my grandma. And she would wake up every morning and before she even said hi to us or good morning, whatever, she'd be like, hang on, let me go say hi to Blondie. Blondie? Yeah, she would go out and say good morning to the sun. Good
Oh,
morning, Blondie. It would always be like, oh, okay, grandma, whatever, but then like now that she's gone, it's like, wow, she knew so much, like in stuff she did, like she was so wise. And now, I mean, I started appreciating her magic, as an adult. But now that I know
the
about magic.
the concept of magic.
Exactly. It's like, wow, she was so wise and she was so magical. And she never talked about it like that. It just came natural to her. But she did share a lot of wisdom to me, that just going out and say hi to the sun, that to me, that's wisdom,
Right,
because she taught us to appreciate the little quote unquote things that a lot of people took for granted,
right.
or still take for granted, you
Yeah.
know.
Even the singing of the birds. We live where we. My brother says that I live in the middle of the forest because there's nothing but trees on my backyard and a whole bunch of birds, all kinds of birds that you can think of, and all of these things. But it's really cute because I always tell my children, right, like just listen to the birds singing in the morning, like the sunrise. You can see the sunrise up on the mountains, so beautiful every morning. And I always tell them, oh, I appreciate this because so beautiful, so magical, and we all get to share it together. But there's
No, that's awesome.
certain people who don't see it, in their everyday lives, and we get to see it every single day. See that magical sunrise, and it's so beautiful, and that's how I get wake up every day. I don't even have curtains in my room because I want to see that
You
sunrise.
went to the sunrise.
Right. And it's those magical moments, like little moments, that you're just like a sunrise. How magical that is, you know. Um, Even sometimes the heavy rain, the sound of the heavy rain. It's like,
I love the smell when it
or this,
starts when it starts to rain. It's just like,
yes, yes, yes. And that is all magic. That is all magic, and it's beauty in its all essence. And, and I think that we get so caught up in the everyday that we forget that we live in a magical planet. Even when I don't know if you have ever read any of those interviews that they do to astronauts who went out to the
space.
yeah, to space, and then they came back and they were just like, you guys don't even realize the planet. You just live it. Like
It's so
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful. I think to me, when I was little, I used to go up on the
The
ceiling of
roof.
the house, yeah, on the roof exactly, and I used to look up on the sky, and I would always wonder, like, what's out there? Like, what 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 is out there that we are not even aware of it? But even if you see at nighttime all of the stars and how magical the night is for me at least, one of my favorite parts of the day is night because I see the moon, the sky, all the stars, and it's just so beautiful. It's
That.
so much mystery with it, and it's just like it's magical. To me, that's magical.
And that's what caught our ancestors' attention too.
Yes.
Started looking at the stars and seeing, getting all the like how astrology and astronomy and all those studies came about as well. Just by looking, just by observation and being aware of the surroundings. And since there was no pollution, that's all they could see were stars at night.
Exactly. Exactly.
So there was so much to question and so much to figure out. There still is, but I think we're so busy sometimes that we don't take the time to fully question everything that
Mhm.
surrounds us and even tiny situations, just every moment. It's like, okay, what am I seeing here? What am I missing? What am I not appreciating? Or what am I appreciating? So that's this week's invite to put on your magic glasses and start seeing all the magic that surrounds you. Just kind of question yourself, what am I missing? What am I not seeing here? What's the universe trying to show me? What's my unconscious trying to show me here? And how much magic can I create? What kind of magic can I create with what I have?
Yes, definitely.
I think that's a good way to finish this episode. What do you think, Angeles? Do you have anything to add?
I do. I just want to say this podcast is magical. Um,
Yes.
for me, this is a little dose of magic that I get to have with you, and I get to share with you, and we both get to make magic, more
I
magic,
I agree.
and it's so beautiful, when you find someone who you can talk to and just be the magic that you are,
The
because
magic of being. See, we
right,
go.
right, because
We
it's
touched.
not easy to allow yourself to be the magic that you are just with anybody. I feel that sometimes we're so afraid to let ourselves out, you know,
Be. Mhm.
and be right and be, because as Heather tells us, you can be around so many people, but you can only be who you are with certain
But
people.
certain people.
And you are definitely one of those people for me, Aida. I can
I think
definitely say I feel all the magic within me when I share space like this with you and with all of you that are also watching us, because if you're watching this episode, it's because your unconscious knew that there was already magic within you and you needed to hear this. So I just want to
exactly.
say thank you. Thank you for all the magic that you have brought into my life.
Oh, likewise. Yeah, same here. I'm just not too good with words, but yeah, same here. I'm
Oh,
here too.
you are, but I think sometimes the camera kind of makes us feel like, but you are very good with words because you have always made me feel like magic. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. You are magic. We are all magic. We just are. Well, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Angeles, for the kind words, for your time. I also enjoy sharing this magical moment with everyone, especially you. And yeah, just like you said, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, there's something here for you. So dig in, just keep on watching, keep on listening, and find that magic within you. You have it. It's there. I promise. So we'll see you. No, read you. We'll
Yes.
talk to you next.
Please leave your comments. We want to
Yes,
know.
please. They're on now. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.